Well, it was 6 years ago when we got the bad news. Mitsubishi was leaving. I know there were a lot of people disappointed. It meant a lot to the local economy and at least 1,000 jobs. And this area, Bloomington Normal, was going to have a big empty auto plant, like so many towns and cities around America. You can find what's left of the remnants of the Studebaker plant in South Bend, Indiana. You can find a lot of other ventures into building autos that are just a distant memory and a lot of old stories. That was six years ago. And it was 5 years ago I got a call from a mayor, and I thought perhaps he was drinking on the job, because this mayor said to me, "I think I found somebody to buy the Mitsubishi plant." I said, "Mayor Chris Coos, are you okay?" He said, "I really am." He said, "I think I've got a lead on a company that might be interested. I'll let you know." Well, what a great story. And I just left a few minutes ago the old Mitsubishi plant, which is now the new Rivian plant. It's my third visit out there, and each time is just transformational. It's a miraculous development that's taken place. I want to thank Mayor Cruz for letting me join him today, particularly at this facility, which we're very proud of. We worked together in Washington to make sure that this multimodal center was built right here as an anchor for transportation with Amtrak and other sources, and for the economy downtown. We know that infrastructure is more than roads and bridges in Illinois. We know the transportation sector is looking to the next generation and what it's going to look like. The President of the United States understands that. He has a plan for building good-paying jobs in America, called the American Jobs Plan. And in that plan, he's investing $174 billion in an effort to make sure that we're investing in electric vehicles and charging stations across America. These funds would support the growth of businesses like Rivian and accelerate the installation of charging stations like this one all across America to become as commonplace or more commonplace than gas stations. Imagine a future where you drive from Normal to Chicago or Normal to St. Louis and you don't burn a drop of gasoline. That's coming, and it's going to come soon. I saw a glimpse of it here today in Normal, where Rivian will soon, in just a few weeks, begin producing to scale brand new electric vehicles, thanks in no small part to the thousands of Illinoisans who are operating its plant. The very parking structure, you can see electric vehicle charging ports, something you're going to see more and more of. This is, and I know these cliches are used over and over again, but this is the new normal. This is a place where hardworking Illinoisans produce next-generation vehicles, and companies come together with local leaders to build us and move us toward a cleaner and stronger economy. Normal is stepping up to the plate and is going to become a leader. One of the executives out at Rivian was discussing the role of Central Illinois and our state in this new revolution on transportation. We have many claims to being one of the pioneers in moving forward and in leading the nation. Let me give you a couple. One of the largest producers of charging stations in the world is out of the Netherlands. They're opening a facility in Libertyville, Illinois. Argonne National Laboratory, which we're very proud of, has been doing battery technology research for years, and now they're looking into the recycling of batteries as well. I was told, and I can't name names because they weren't prepared to make them public, but many subcontractors will be working with Rivian, be locating their businesses here in Illinois and Central Illinois. Central Illinois has an opportunity to become the EV Silicon Valley of the 21st century. I'm not exaggerating. I know Governor Pritzker was just here recently talking about the Heartland Community College and involving them in the training for new employees and investments by the state of Illinois. If we focus on this, we are going to be creating new and good-paying jobs in this area, building the economy, helping everything with it, the businesses and the schools that count on it. The pioneering work on batteries is important for another reason. Most of the battery, many elements, I should say, of the batteries that are being used today are produced in China. Now, I have nothing against China and their business, but I want to make sure that America is in a position to have these jobs right here in this nation, good paying jobs, and we become more self-sufficient in the production of batteries and new battery technologies. We got to continue the research in Oregon and other places, and it isn't just confined to battery technology. Please don't ask me as a liberal arts lawyer to explain quantum computing, but it's underway in Oregon, and it relates directly to the development of this new technology. Artificial intelligence does as well. So I'm happy to tell you that we have an opportunity to work together again, as we did in building this multimodal facility, bringing together state, federal, and local sources to create something that has a real value to the community and creates job opportunities. And this is exactly what this building did and what Rivian and the development this company is doing in the future. We can do our part in Washington. I'm supportive of the American Jobs Plan by the President. Unfortunately, many of the people who are opposed to it have resigned themselves to America being in second place in the world. I'm not one of those people. This is a great country. We have led in so many areas. There is no reason why we cannot lead when it comes to EV technology and EV production in the United States of America. I believe that President Biden is right, and I'm going to support it. I think this is the 21st century's transportation picture, and I want Normal to be a part of it, all of Illinois, and I want America to be the leader. Mayor Chris Coos, please.
Thank you, Senator. Much of what we do here in this community, right on time. Much of what we do here in this community, we could not do without the help of our federal partners, and especially the help of Senator Dick Durbin, who has been by our side for all the innovative things we've tried to accomplish in this community. So, Senator, thank you for your support and your belief in what we're trying to do here in Normal. Protecting the environment is a vital role of the philosophy of the town of Normal. Our goal is to be a regional environmental leader in terms of environmental stewardship. And this goal is identified in our comprehensive plan, which we just finished, taking a look at our community for the next 10 years. And we had 1,800 local citizens involved in that planning process, and they all agreed that climate change is a seminal issue for us to deal with. And we can do that with electric vehicles as part of our environmental incentives. As we know, automobiles are probably the major pollution contributor, and the town has taken the leadership by adopting EV technology, starting an organization called EV Town, which you'll be hearing more about later, coming up soon. We are partnering with Rivian to relaunch EV Town as an initiative in our community. We use electric vehicles as part of our fleet. We recognize the benefits of the need for charging infrastructure. And we used federal energy block grant dollars to install 48 charging stations throughout our community. And we were one of the leaders in the United States in terms of getting charging infrastructure into our community. And we realized that the EV success does not succeed without charging infrastructure. We're also a key location in America because of our EV initiatives, in that Tesla installed their first charging station in the Midwest United States, one floor up from here. And we were a leader in that regard because of our location and because of our embracing EV technology. Tesla recognized that and put their charging stations here. EVs are currently one of the most competitive areas of technology, and Rivian in our community is leading the charge in innovative technology for automobiles and for battery technology. They're creating clean vehicles for America right here in our community. What Rivian is doing is key to our community. And I firmly believe, as Senator Durbin said, Central Illinois will become a hotspot for environmental efforts in EV technology and battery storage technology. Every time I talk with Rivian about their employment numbers, the numbers keep going up and up and up. And they are so excited to be a part of our community. We share a culture for environmentalism and progressive technology. So I'll just wrap up and say our community has hundreds of EVs on the streets right now. We have more to do. We have to invest in charging infrastructure in our community and encourage that to be built out. And we are establishing ourselves as a model electric vehicle community. Thank you. Senator, you'll probably have questions.
Any questions?
One of the reasons that China dominates in electric battery production is their supply of lithium. The U.S. doesn't have that yet. How should the U.S. address its lack of that critical element?
Well, lithium is one battery source, and like I said, I'm a liberal arts lawyer, so don't test me in my engineering skills. But there are other sources that are being developed. There's a lithium mine now in the United States, in the southwestern part of the United States. There are even plans to reclaim lithium from the tailings of coal mines. So we haven't declared that we are going to be dependent on China and lithium, even in that area. And we're exploring new battery technology which doesn't use that, uses a different approach. And I think that's very critical. I think we need to have diversity of research and not be dependent on one source of battery technology. Boy, am I glad you asked that question, because when it came to the infrastructure bill from President Biden, he said it isn't just highways and roads and bridges and tunnels and airports and ports. It also is our electrical grid, transmission of electric power across the United States from all sorts of sources. Is it necessary? Ask the people in Texas who went through a week or two of no electricity because the current system is just not up to the challenge. So yes, it would include investment in the electric grid to make sure that there are plentiful electric sources, and equally important, to echo what the mayor said, that we do that sensitive to the climate situation we're facing here. We're seeing a change in the source of electricity in our state and around the nation. It used to be that more than half of the electricity was generated by coal. Well, that has gone down dramatically. Not so much by government mandate, but by the private sector deciding that that's not the future. Now it's more and more natural gas that is generating electricity. And in Illinois, nuclear power, I can't forget to add that in there. So as we start anticipating greater uses of electricity, we're looking for more renewable, sustainable sources of that electricity. If you're driving up I-55, which I spend a big part of my life doing, I know when I see the wind turbines, I'm getting near McLean County, and you really are leaders in that regard. So the short answer is this: we're going to need more electricity, we're going to need clean sources of electricity to save this planet, and we're working on that today, and I'm glad that President Biden is showing real leadership in that.
So a question for both of you, and on the local and the national level. If car companies are indeed going to be all electric by 2030, as at least one major automaker says it's going to be, and you've got 40 plus charging stations now, what sort of numbers are necessary locally and nationally to supply the nation's auto fleet?
Well, that's a challenge, isn't it? And it's a good challenge because we know that this is the future. It's a significant part of the future. And don't trust politicians to tell you that. The people that tell us that electric vehicles are part of the future are the major automobile manufacturers who've announced their goals by the year 2030 and 2040 as to the percentage of vehicles that they're going to produce that are electric vehicles. So there's going to be a brand new source of infrastructure coming. Who's going to be ready for it? I want Illinois to be ready for it. I want us to show at our community colleges that we can train the women and men to install these electrical charging facilities. I want these facilities to be made in the United States. As I mentioned, a Dutch company is coming to our state. I'm sure they're welcome to be here. But let's try to get production in the United States. That ought to be our goal. And for a lot of my friends in organized labor, I say to them, use your skills as electricians and laborers and such to really develop expertise where people will turn to you and the people you train to install them. I think this is a win-win situation. I think as we move away from fossil fuel as a source for transportation, we're going to be seeing more and more investment in this country in the right way.
I'll just start by saying while we've been standing here, I've counted 4 Teslas driving up to the second floor to charge. So if you have charging infrastructure, it will drive the use of EVs in our nation. R.J. Scaringe pointed out in a comment a long time ago that when the automobile first started becoming popular and the Model Ts were rolling off the assembly lines, there might have only been 500-600 gas stations in the United States, and 10 years later there were something like 30,000. So the market will drive that. The market will drive the implementation of charging stations. The 48 that we installed, you're now seeing them in the Hy-Vee parking lot that are powered by wind. Things like that are happening. The private sector is going to step up and build out the charging infrastructure.
Sure.
Senator Manchin has indicated opposition to doing away with filibuster. You can't do everything through reconciliation. How does that affect your and the president's agenda?
Well, that is inside baseball. It's the Senate procedure, but it really has a bearing even on this conversation. Will President Biden be able to get his major initiatives through if it requires 60 votes in the Senate? We have 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans. We need 10 Republicans to join us if all Democrats are on board. And that is a heavy lift, very heavy lift politically. So we've used this reconciliation package for the American Rescue Act to provide for more vaccine and vaccinations, the cash payments of $1,400 to families across America, extension of unemployment benefits, and on and on. Now, the next step, how many Democrats will be on board, how many Republicans, remains to be seen. But I know Joe Manchin, he's my friend. I know what's going through his head. He believes in the filibuster, but he also wants to get things done in the Senate. So I hope that we can convince him that we should try initially, and I hope successfully, to put together bipartisan efforts to do this. I'm doing it myself in several areas as chairman of Judiciary. And then if that fails, whether there are elements that could be taken up in reconciliation bills successfully and not be subject to a filibuster. It's an involved answer, but it's an involved subject.
The Republicans are facing a challenge right now with Liz Cheney versus the Trump supporters. The danger of faction goes all the way back to the Federalist Papers. What are Democrats facing in the same vein of faction?
Oh, we have nothing to compare to the legacy of Donald Trump, thank goodness. What we are facing is a party that has a variety of political values, from Bernie Sanders on one end to Joe Manchin on the other, as just an illustration of where we are in the Senate. But we have found common ground as long as we're reasonable and willing to compromise within our own caucus. I'm not going to predict the future of the grand old party, the Republican Party. That should be their concern. And I will just say that I respect Mitt Romney. I respect Liz Cheney for speaking out and expressing their conscience on important issues. Any other questions? Thanks. Glad you all came by to see.